While Trump threatened Canada with tariffs and talked about making it the 51st state, Canada quietly signed a deal that just destroyed America's energy dominance in Asia. January 15, 2026, Beijing. Canada's Energy Minister Tim Hodgson signs a memorandum with China. $109 billion, 50 million tons of liquefied natural gas annually by 2030, every single ton going to Asia. Not one drop for America. Trump never saw it coming. Here's what just happened. Canada is building 7 massive LNG export facilities on the Pacific coast, British Columbia, deep water ports, direct shipping to Asia. Total capacity, 50.3 million tons per year, all operational between 2027 and 2030. And here's the kicker. Chinese companies are funding it. PetroChina owns 15% of LNG Canada, the first major facility that's already shipping. They're not just buying Canadian gas, they're owning the infrastructure. Shell, Malaysia's Petronas, Mitsubishi, Kogas, all invested. $40 billion in LNG Canada alone. Another $69 billion coming for the rest. Why does this matter? Asia imported 270 million tons of LNG in 2025. By 2030, they'll need 350 million tons. China alone will jump from 90 million to 120 million tons. That's 30 million tons of new demand in 5 years. Canada's targeting 50 million tons total. That's 18.5% of the entire Asian market. From zero to nearly 1/5 in 5 years. Market transformation, and it's permanent. Once these facilities are built, they run for 30 to 40 years. Long-term contracts already signed. Chinese investment already flowing. You can't redirect Pacific terminals to the Atlantic. You can't reroute tankers meant for Shanghai to send them to Louisiana. The infrastructure only goes one way. West, across the Pacific, away from America. Right now, Canada sends almost all its natural gas to the United States through pipelines. Alberta and British Columbia gas fields connected to American distribution networks. America's been the default customer for generations. But that ends in 2030. Carney made it crystal clear in Beijing. 50 million tons annually, all destined for Asian markets, not United States markets. Complete Pacific orientation. American market abandoned. Why abandon America? Trump. The tariff threats. The annexation talk, the weaponization of trade. Canadian energy executives watched Trump tear up agreements and tweet threats. They drew the obvious conclusion. You can't build 50-year infrastructure with a partner who might blow it up with the next presidential tweet. Asia offers something America doesn't anymore. Stability, long-term contracts, respect, no threats to invade. Countries that treat Canada like a sovereign nation, not a future state. China especially wants Canadian LNG. Mark Carney emphasized this. We produce the lowest carbon intensity LNG in the world. How? British Columbia uses hydroelectric power for the liquefaction process. Most LNG facilities worldwide burn natural gas to power compression and cooling. Massive emissions. Canadian facilities use renewable electricity from BC Hydro. Cuts emissions in half compared to the global average. Canadian LNG, 15 tons of CO2 per ton produced. Global average, 26 to 35 tons. China committed to carbon neutrality by 2060. They need cleaner energy to hit those targets while replacing coal. Canadian LNG is perfect. Geography favors Canada too. Pacific coast is closer to Asian markets than the American Gulf Coast. Shorter shipping distance, lower costs, faster delivery. American LNG from Louisiana or Texas has to go through the Panama Canal or all the way around South America to reach Asia. Canadian LNG ships directly across the Pacific. Economics work. Here's Trump's nightmare. He thought he had leverage over Canada because Canadian energy had nowhere else to go. That leverage just evaporated. Even if America wanted Canadian LNG tomorrow, the infrastructure doesn't exist to deliver it. All new terminals face the Pacific. All export capacity points toward Asia. All contracts commit supply to Asian buyers. Trump can threaten all he wants. Can't force Canada to build different infrastructure. Can't redirect terminals. Can't break contracts with Chinese buyers. The leverage is gone. Trans Mountain Pipeline already proved this works. Came online May 2024. Created Pacific export capacity for oil. Canadian crude now loads on tankers and ships to Asian refineries. No longer captive to American refineries. Result? Petroleum exports to China jumped 240% in 9 months. From $2.4 billion annually to $8 billion projected for 2025. Massive growth. Single year. If it works for oil, it works for gas. The timeline is locked. LNG Canada is ramping up now. Already shipped 6 tankers. Target: 1 cargo every 2 days once fully operational. 14 million tons annually from the first 2 trains. Potential expansion to 26 million tons. Cedar LNG starts 2028. Woodfiber LNG 2028. KSI Leams 2029. Others early 2030s. By 2030, full 50 million tons operational, serving Asian markets that America can't touch. Chinese buyers are already committed. Long-term purchase agreements signed. Equity investments made. Infrastructure financing provided. Political commitment secured through the Carney meetings. This is locked in. A permanent shift in Canadian energy orientation that Trump never anticipated. The irony is perfect. Trump wanted American energy dominance, wanted control over allied energy supplies, wanted leverage to force policy compliance. Instead, his threats pushed Canada to build infrastructure that eliminates American leverage permanently. And it's irreversible. Can't tear down liquefaction facilities, can't redirect Pacific terminals, can't break decades-long contracts, can't refund Chinese investment. Infrastructure creates irreversible facts on the ground. 5 years from now, Canada ships 50 million tons of LNG annually to Asia. Chinese companies own equity in production. Asian buyers consume the output. United States completely bypassed. Trump's energy weapon neutralized. Canada's Asian orientation permanent. The shock is total and irreversible. Trump threatened Canada into submission. Canada responded by building an exit, and that exit just became permanent.